Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, you're listening to the podcast Capturing Magic. I'm Bill Rogers, the voice of Disney. Thanks very much for listening.
Hey everyone, welcome to Capturing Magic. I am Steph from capturingmagic.me and thedailydigi.com. And I am here today with three wonderful Disney fans and team members at Capturing Magic. Beth Kriebel, it's her first time joining us. Hi, Beth.
Hi.
And Beth can be found at anyhappylittlethoughts.com. Thanks for being here today, Beth.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. We also have Tanya from crossbonecuts.blogspot.com. Hi, Tanya.
Hello.
Thanks for being here today.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. And then we have Heather back again. Tanya and Heather both coming back again. Heather, who can be found at heatherw.com/character.
Hi.
Hi, Heather. Yeah. Okay. So thanks for being here again today, Heather. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you for putting up with all my technical difficulties.
No worries at all.
Oh, life is a technical difficulty.
No kidding. It has been for Heather today. But all right. So we are going to talk about Run Disney. We did a show a while back. And since we did that show, a lot of you have been running in races. And I think Beth actually has been running in races for a while. Let's start there, Beth. Let's start with you. How many races have you done that are Disney, and how many have you done that aren't? Or not how many? What? Yeah, let's just start there. Let's just start there. How many Run Disney races have you done?
I have been to 3 Run Disney events with 4 races. So I did the 2012 Princess Half Marathon, which was my very first half marathon.
Wow.
And then I ran the next year, 2013, at the Princess Half, which at that time I was living on the East Coast. So that was a doable event for me. Now that we are living in California, I just did the Dumbo Double Dare, which is a 2-race challenge at Disneyland, and it involves running the Disneyland Half Marathon on the Sunday, and then the day before, on Saturday, you're running the 10K. So I did that event this past Labor Day weekend, which Tanya and Heather were there as well. So that would be 4 actual runs. That was 5 medals total. And so that's what I've done for Run Disney so far. And I started running roughly in 2011. 2012, I had run when I was in high school, but had not really been exercising in the meantime. So I got back into running, and the Run Disney event was really it was a big motivator for doing a half marathon. So that's been my history with them. Okay.
Heather, let's hear about how you got started doing Run Disney.
Well, I think I've mentioned on the podcast before, but I started just walking so that my legs would be in shape for Disney. And then I started seeing a lot of my friends like on Twitter and everything, and they'd be doing the races, and they had, of course, all these cool characters. So I thought, oh, it looks like fun. And I finally signed up for one. It was the Happy Haunted 5K in September 2012. That's with the Tower weekend. And that was my first one, and I walked it. And then I did the Princess 5K in February the next year, and I walked that one too. And then I decided to, I was walking a lot, and I wanted like more of a challenge. So then they started having 10Ks. So I signed up for that, and I got in like right at the last minute. It was like 99%, and I was kind of like, oh, should I do it? I don't know. And so I finally did, and now they go so fast, because when I did the other ones, they had plenty of time to sign up, and now you kind of have to sign up on the day where you're
the minute.
Yeah. And so I did that one, and then with the 10Ks, they're timed, so I didn't want to get swept, and I still wanted to be able to stop for pictures. And so that's why I decided to start running, and I didn't think I would like it at all, because I've never been like an exercise person or a runner. Like I would always try to get out of gym in school. And so I finally, in like October last year, I decided finally, okay, I have to start running, and I loved it. And it's still weird to me, but I did it was the January, which is like the marathon weekend at Disney World. That was the 10K I did, and I loved it, and I was hooked. And I did the Princess 5K and 10K the next month, and then I did the same one that Beth did, the 5K and 10K for Disneyland. And then my next race is going to be soon. It's a 1.5. So I've done 7 races over 5 weekends.
Wow.
So yeah, they get addicting.
Yes.
I have several signed up for next year. So.
Yay. Okay, Tanya.
Yes.
Tell us about your runDisney experience.
I've done 3, I'm looking at my medals right now, 3 5Ks and 1 10K. So I did the 5K last August, a 5K in January, and then the 5K and the 10K in August with Heather.
I didn't know that you did both. Good for you. Maybe
Okay.
I did know that. I did know that.
I didn't sign up for both. But then Heather's mom signed up and she ended up not coming, so I took her place in the 5K.
Okay.
Yeah, so.
Because you guys had some cute costumes.
Yeah, that's the best part. I'm not going to lie.
Yes, it is.
Right.
The running part is absolute
Crap.
not fun. Yeah, crap. But the dressing up is fun.
Okay, so let's jump into that then. How are runDisney events and races different than other races that you've done? Heather, have you done other races?
Yeah, I've done a 5K and 2 10Ks.
Okay.
Non-Disney. And, well, I mean, the biggest thing, obviously, I mean, other than you're not running a Disney, but, there's mostly, like, there's no entertainment. And there's, like, when I, for the half I'm doing, I wanted to do a 10K get a better time so I could be in a better corral. So I did a 10K here, and it was, I mean, I did really well, my time. Like, I don't run that fast now. So it was really good that I did that. But it was, there was like nothing. And so my first mile, there was like a weather balloon in the, distance.
Awesome.
And I pretended that was like Spaceship Earth. We ran under a train, and I pretended that was a monorail. And then that was after mile 1, and there was nothing else. I'm like,
Being able to run in a Disney park makes the difference.
Yeah.
There's stuff to see, there's stuff to take pictures of, and
I mean, even if you're not stopping for characters like me, I mean, there's plenty of people who don't. And I mean, I don't understand why you spend all the money and do all this stuff and then not stop, but plenty of people do. And but you're still seeing it, so it's still kind of like distracting you from, that I'm running like 3, 6, 13 miles, So, you have that. And also, I think the medals for the runDisney races mostly are way better than anything else. Like that race I was talking about, they didn't even give out a medal. So I didn't realize how much I really liked the medals until I didn't get one.
I wouldn't even do a race that didn't have a medal.
I mean, I was only doing it for that time. I got my good time. It was like the first time that I ever did a race where I didn't stop for anything. So, I mean, that was like the whole point. And then I'm done, and I'm like, I'm used to taking like the picture at the end with the medal, and like I had nothing to do that with, so that was the thing. But then I've done other ones. Like I did one in New York in Central Park. And that one was great, and they had a medal, and it was a pink medal, which is kind of the reason I did it. and the other thing too is with the Disney races, there's always a lot of like cheering, and like the other races I've done here in Philadelphia, like there's not really much cheering that I've seen. But in the one in New York, there was like a ton of people cheering. Like you run on the street of New York, and then you run through Central Park, and that one was like much better because obviously you're getting, you're in Central Park and everything. You're having more distractions and everything. So, but it does depend. And I obviously the whole not running in a Disney park is a big thing. But
Beth, I know that you've done other races too, right?
Yeah, I do, and I'm kind of like Heather. And I think one of the things she's really pointing out is how the environment is a big factor in maybe how you experience the run. especially when you're doing a really long distance, like a half marathon, which is 13.1 miles. And I am not really competitive, so I'm not really running for a PR, which is stands for personal record. It's like your personal best time, and you hear that thrown around quite a bit in the running circles. But I've found that where I live now, that I live in where I am in California, I'm in the San Francisco Bay Area, and there's actually a lot of really great running events out here. Actually, on Sunday of this week, so in about 6 days, I'm going to be running over the Golden Gate Bridge. So, that's to me worth signing up for a run. They have really nice medals for this event. And likewise, there's, some other, there was a half marathon in Oakland. So if you're if you're near a metro area where, there's maybe going to be a larger running community, or there's, a sense of, showing off the area or the community itself. It seems like a lot of races kind of build around that. So that's one thing about running non-Disney races is, I still am doing it because I like to take the pictures, and, I'm just taking them of, vineyards or a bridge or something like that. And the other side of doing a run or a racing event outside of the Disney ones is that you can use it as one of your training runs. So if you're running a long distance, especially the half marathon to a full marathon, you're going to have training days within a training plan where you're going to need to go a 13-mile distance or more. And so I've actually, done a running event locally to fill that need as well. So I'm kind of killing two birds with one stone. So that's one of the benefits of running outside of Disney. But, like Tanya said, you're running through the parks, which you're running when no other people are there. They're making the rides. Some of the rides are running without people on them, or maybe with characters riding them. The cast members are out cheering you on. It's just a really unique look at the parks.
Mm-hmm.
If you're the better runner you are time-wise, the earlier you get to start. So in the runDisney races. So if you're in the first few groups of people, they call those corrals. If you're in the first corrals, you're running in the dark, pretty much. If you're like me, you get a lot of daylight during your run. So there's that. I mean, there's certainly elite runners and people that are really pushing for a good time in a runDisney event. But I mean, I'm like Heather and Tanya. I just love going through the parks and seeing the different photo opportunities. And I'll add one last thing with the runDisney events. Because you're running through the parks, they route you through a lot of the backstage areas. So you're seeing some interesting, for some people that may kind of spoil magic or whatnot, but for most people, I think they find that really interesting. And
you get to take pictures of that, because
yes.
Normally, like, even if you take a tour and you go backstage, you can't take pictures,
yeah.
But I've taken like a lot of pictures, even though it's like not interesting. It's still like, that's that, that's right.
Look at this wall.
Right. And at Walt Disney World, at least when I did the Princess, I'm not sure how they do the staging for some of the other half marathons, but I know at Walt Disney World, even though it is 4:30 in the morning or whatever, you're walking around with all these people getting ready to do this run. You're having to walk through a pretty expansive area, which you're kind of in a herd of people. You feel like cattle, so you don't really know where you're going. You're just following everybody. But you'll see like really old ride vehicles kind of sitting over in the weeds, or it's just kind of this weird, it was a little, not creepy, but it kind of, when it's dark, and you've got weird shadows from the lights, the street lamps and stuff, it's kind of like, ooh, this is kind of like Disney's graveyard, but it's just an interesting perspective. So if you're a Disney fan, even if you're not a big runner, I just think you can get a lot out of, doing one of their events.
Really fun. I'm not a runner, but I would like to do one of their events. It sounds like a lot of fun to me.
And the good thing too with the runDisney races is they're really good for like walkers.
Yeah.
So like I said, I started just walking and they're fine with it. And, some of the other races, they might be more like not even competitive, but, you might not feel as comfortable doing that. And what Beth was talking about, like there's really not as many elite runners. When I did the 10K in New York, like the woman who won, she got like a world record for the fastest 10K or something like that. And so, there were like Olympians in it and everything. And so it was, sometimes you'll have some Olympians or more elite in this, but it's not as much as it is. I think most people I think are Disney people who are running rather than runners who are running at Disney.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah.
So
Disney people who are getting fit so they can run. A lot of times, I think.
It's a great excuse to leave your kids at home. And I don't lie about that.
Your most recent race, Beth, you were with your sister, weren't you?
My sister did meet me, yeah.
Yeah, okay, that's what I thought. That's fun.
And when I've done when I did the half, the Princess Half, one of my best friends met me, my girlfriend from college, and we actually run together when we've done those two races. So it's a great way. It's kind of my excuse of, spending a weekend with her. And I've seen a lot of women, especially for the Princess Half, because it is a female-centric race. There's a lot of girl weekend type festivities going on. So very supportive atmosphere. I think the runDisney community tends to be very accepting of all types of skill levels and, just real positive because they're, families are involved and they kind of encourage the spectators. You get a lot of support, when you do the runs from just people standing on the sidelines watching you and holding up crazy signs. And
I think the spectators are my favorite part.
Yeah, they're pretty
a
fun.
lot of support between cast members and just anybody. There's people that come out that don't even know anybody racing.
No, I know.
And they're just there to support. And it's nice.
Yeah,
that's
there
cool.
There was one at I think it was the Princess 10K, and they were take selfies with us, and so they were like taking selfies with runners, and they were like posting them, and yeah.
Yeah, it's really nice. It's really nice. And even during just like the 5Ks, which, to a lot of people, a 5K is not, we usually just walk a 5K. You don't even really need to run a 5K. But those people cheering you on, are looking at you like you just ran 10, 15 miles. They're looking at you like you didn't just run a 5K, you just ran a half marathon. You feel good. Like, I didn't only walk just 3 miles.
I can't remember if it was the 5K or the 10K at Disneyland, but there was this one cast member, and it was like over by Soren. I don't know if you remember, Tanya.
It was the 10K.
Yeah, it was 10K. And he was, I think he used more energy than like any of us running.
Seriously, I was watching him.
He was
he was so
and he was like jumping up and down. Like,
even the cast members standing near him were like, dude, calm down.
And they'll have little signs would be like the third shift, custodians, they were like saluting you, and like the whole thing is like really.
Yeah.
That's really fun. Okay, so as far as memory keeping goes, I know, Beth, you did a post on Capturing Magic with a memory keeping plan. What are kind of some of the things that you did that you were happy about, and maybe some things that you would want to do differently?
Well, I did kind of, if somebody wants to read it in more detail, it is on the blog for what kind of my assessment after I did the Disneyland event. And, I really rely on my phone. I actually relied on my phone for pretty much all my photos from the weekend, even when I wasn't running. So, I think, it's just kind of some of the same rules of, photographing your vacation. It's better to probably take more than you think, because a lot of them will not turn out the way you thought, or, I find that I have a lot of issues with those early hours when it's, when the sun, like the morning, I forget what they call that time. It's when the light is shifting from dark to light, and
dawn.
Oh, yeah, thank you. I wanted to call it dust. I'm like, no, it's the wrong part of day. In the early dawn. It just, I have a lot of pictures that I was really like, because, which kind of, that plays a part in it too. It was overcast, I believe, the morning of maybe both races before that fog kind of burned off or whatever. So I just wasn't really thrilled with some of the lighting, but I had some other pictures that I was really happy about that maybe came in another part of the event. I definitely am glad I used the PhotoPass photographers, even though they are not taking. I don't think they were there for the character.
No, it's a different
That's the marathon
photography people. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's Marathon Photo that take the
on
the race.
Yeah, so the PhotoPass photographer, just because I was there for 4 days, and with the rides and everything, I still was glad, even though I'm glad I did that. I would also suggest when you are running, and I've seen people when they write about. I mean, there's not a lot out there, but when people have commented on race photos and when they're running and having their pictures taken, people are really self-conscious, which is understandable. I mean, you're sweaty, you might feel kind of gross at the time. And we all kind of look kind of funny when we're running in a way. We want to look like the models that, especially runDisney, they have beautiful photos of runners in their promotional materials, But the reality is, you're going to have a lot of people around you. So a lot of the shots that the professional photographers are taking, they may or may not be in the end what you want. But if you're kind of aware that they're going to be out on the course, and you see these people, they're usually to the side and they're sitting on the ground, or they might be standing, and you see they're going to have the really big cameras usually. I just always try to, do something like throw up peace signs or a thumbs up, or, you want to do something, because that way you've at least made an effort. And so when you go to look at the race photos, there might be one or two that you could really be happy with, or at least capture your experience on the course. I would say from, one thing that I found that I wanted to share that would be helpful with memory keeping with runDisney. They seem to be getting a little bit more sophisticated on their website, on the runDisney website, with how you see your results and sort of some of the promotional things that they put out for the events. So, for example, I was trying to find I wanted to get my results again from the last race. And so for the Disneyland half weekend, under the runDisney website, they have a link. I think you go to results, but if you go through the menu options and you're looking for your results, they have wallpaper downloads. There's certificates that you can download that have your name and your times on them. They had course maps that can be downloaded. So, you could, if you're into, if you're wanting to do something for a PhotoBook or for your scrapbooking, you could go in and download some of those items just as digital files and somehow incorporate those into memory keeping later. So that's kind of a nice little thing to know, which I don't think they really have a lot of that for the earlier races from earlier years, but they seem to be sort of becoming a little bit more fancy with that. So I did want to mention that.
That's really cool. I had no idea that they had all of that stuff.
I didn't really either.
They also have like the official guidebook that you get, and they have that digitally, so you can also like use that, and that has a lot of stuff too, and like even just the logo, then you can like use that kind of thing. The like finisher certificate, which I think is really cool. I think that's only for like a half and above. I haven't seen that for like the 10K, but I mean, you do get your results, but all that other fun stuff.
That's cool.
Yeah, and I think, there's a lot of people, they're trying to become more and more green, but they still have the nice weekend or the race event brochure, which is a really thick booklet. There's plenty of stuff you can kind of keep as you're going through the weekend. I know, in my opinion, runners are not even just Disney runners, but runners in general, something instantly by participating in an event for memory keeping by getting their medal or getting a shirt or their bib. And runners, even outside of runDisney, of course they're going to have the medals, but even the bibs a lot of people keep. So you definitely want to keep a hold of that stuff. I just kind of shove it all in a Ziploc bag and I'll deal with it later. But trying to keep all that together is helpful. And but yeah, from memory keeping perspective, it's pretty much just taking as many pictures as I can when I think about it, but also trying to run the race. So, sometimes I'm like, yeah, I'm stopping again for photos. And I will say one thing to do too is don't hesitate if you see people, sometimes you'll see people trying to get a picture with their mom or whoever they're running with. And it's kind of nice to offer to help them with that. If you're not pushing on for a time, then that usually I've tried to do that a couple of times and people get excited about it. So that's just another way of spreading the love. But
that's a good idea. Good advice. Heather, what have you done that's worked and hasn't worked?
Well, I carry with me like a little camera because I don't just trust my phone, especially because like Beth said, so much of it is at night or, if it's not really that bright. And there's, she was mentioning about with the photographers, I just want to mention again that it's not PhotoPass, so it's not something that you, with the memory maker, so you're paying separately
for
this. And like anything, it's, varying success of being a good picture or not just because of you, but because of the camera, the photographer, or anything. So usually before the race, they'll have some kind of a discount, like you'll spend $65 for $100 thing, and then you can get all your pictures as on either a CD or a download. And usually, I think that's around $70. So it can get pretty expensive. But I think if it's something, like with my first half, I know I'm gonna want all those pictures, even if they're bad.
Yeah.
So, but that's another reason why you just kind of. I think at the expos, they usually have a map and it shows you, at least for the halves and above, they'll show you where the different photographers are. So you can kind of see that beforehand. And they're not with every character, but they seem to be more and more with a character. And then they'll also have a cast member there. So they'll also take it, on your phone or your camera. I think most people do use their phone, but I'm so about the pictures and the whole thing with the character. I'm going to run this much. I want a good picture with the character, So I have a little camera just for that. It's actually smaller than my phone. And so that's usually what I do to take pictures. And a lot of people, they have the mile markers. And so with the Disney events, of course, they're always more well designed than it doesn't just say 2, it has usually a character or something. And I know even the Disneyland races that I did, it felt like there were lines at the mile markers for people taking pictures with it, which I don't really see as often with the Disney World. People will stop and take a picture with it, but this one, there were lines longer than characters. So that was, a little different, but a lot of people will take pictures with that. And I usually will try to take at least a picture of it if I don't take a picture with it. But, like Beth said, also, usually there'll be other people there wanting to take a picture. So if you say, can you take a picture for me? And I'll take a picture for you. And that's usually how it works because most of the runners, I think, are usually very nice and everything like that. So
similar to how it works when you're in the parks, really.
Yeah. But sometimes, I think, at least for me, when I was first starting and I was thinking okay, everybody's just going to be run.
Right.
They don't want to help you. And I've had things on the course where like I've gotten like smacked in the face by someone's like wings and like someone pushed me out. I mean, I had one of the 10 kids, they did like someone like pushed me out of the way like on purpose. Like it wasn't just like, oh, I'm sorry. But so you can have some like stuff like that happen, but most people are nice about it. And sometimes there's, you know, cast members there too. When I did the Disneyland 10K and backstage, they had the soundstational floats. Mm-hmm. And that was something that's my favorite. I actually listen to that music when I run. So I'm getting pictures with that. And there was only one that they had. This is like a specific cast member right there for you to take the pictures. So when they had other ones, they had cast members along the way, and I would just ask them, "Can I get a picture?" And they always say yes. And one time, the one was like, "You just don't like jump on the float." I'm like, "Oh, okay." I don't know what you expect. Like, I know I love Mary Poppins, but I'm not that. So it was that kind of thing. So you always usually can find somebody that will be able to help you and take pictures of different things. And like with the Disneyland races, they have the World of Color fountains on, which is always gorgeous. So, at the one race, I didn't stop. I took a picture of it, but I didn't take a picture with it. But then the next day I did because they had a cast member there. So, that's nice. But I also use on my phone, I have a Runkeeper app. So there's like all different kinds of apps that you can track your runs. And that's one I use. And I always, after I'm done with the race, I like taking screen caps of it, and because it has like the map. So it's, especially when you're at Disney, it's fun to see, you're running around, it'll say Epcot and all that kind of stuff. And, but then also you have your time and everything like that. So that's a fun thing to keep for your memories. And like Beth was saying about with the bibs, I don't throw them in a plastic bag. I actually, after my last races or so, I made a book, I just used like an 8x8 scrapbook, and I put my bibs in there, and then on like the opposite side, I have like different details from the race, so this way I'll always remember it. And I have the obvious things like date and like where it was run and the time and everything, but the characters, because I'm me, I list the characters that I met and like my outfit. But then I also list like other things like how the weather was and how like I felt, and I think that's something to go back on, and I can look and be like, okay, well, because it was really humid, like maybe that's why I didn't run as fast, or that kind of thing. And sometimes, or
there were lots of characters that you needed to,
Yes, or there were not characters and I was angry. And also sometimes even like what I ate afterwards, and like all that kind of stuff. And I try to do it. I made like a template of it so that as soon as I get home, I go and I type it up, because I know the way I am. If I don't do it right away, I'll just be like, I'll put it off. And so this way, I try to make it like as uncomplicated as possible. First, I was thinking maybe I'll, add a picture or whatever. Like, no, because then it's never going to get done. So I just go and I have this stuff and I just fill that in, and I have that. And I think it's a nice thing to look back on. So I have all that information and not everything just like all over the place. And, because a lot of things they have like medal racks, which is a good way to keep your medals. And I'm waiting until my first half, and then I'm going to buy like a real one. But right now I just have hooks like 3Ms or whatever they are, and I just have that up, and I have the medals hanging up, and that's always not just for a memory thing, but to look at it and be like, okay, this is what I'm working towards. And I think that's really nice. I think most runners have that kind of thing, but it's a nice thing
for sure. Tanya, were you, yes. Sorry, Heather, were you not done?
Yeah. No, I didn't.
I was just taking a nap over here. I'm good.
Yeah. I don't think there's like anything else I really do like during the race. Because even though, it's like for the best you're running. So it's like as much as, I have that thing of should I stop or whatever. Like when I do like the non-Disney races, even though I like never stop, but there's things that you can kind of take like beforehand, like your outfit, I don't know if that's what Tanya's going to talk about. That's why I don't know if I should keep talking.
Those are all really good ideas. I love all of your ideas. Tanya, what about you? What did you do that worked and didn't work? What do you wish you would have done more? Whatever.
The one thing I'm really glad I did do, because now that I look back on photos, again, they're at that dawn hour, and so they're grainy and they're kind of ugly, and blech. But I, like with the mile markers, instead of taking a picture of the mile marker, I didn't care who was there. I took a selfie with the mile marker. So I have a selfie with all 6 mile markers,
That's awesome.
which is nice. So I was able to put those all together. And I also like at the mile markers, they also have, like the time as well. So if you get that in your selfie as well, you could see how long it took you to get to that mile, which is,
It's a great idea.
nice. When you accidentally hit your run keeper button and end it halfway through the race, and I had to start over, which was annoying. But just that this 10K was the first race where I didn't have a camera with me. I just had my phone. Usually the 5Ks are really kind of simple, so I'm able to carry my camera with me. But this was the first one where I just did my phone, and it was fine. I mean, a photo. I'm to the point now where any photo is better than no photo.
Yeah.
So even
if
I'm sweaty and gross
and it's grainy.
And it's grainy, it's at least a photo. But what was I going to talk about? I lost it.
Costumes?
Yes, costumes. Let's do costumes.
Because that's like one of my favorite things about the races, and I don't even race in them. So
yeah. Oh yeah. You always have to take a photo of it the night before. Laid out.
Ready to go.
Yeah, ready to go. So this last one, especially like Heather and I, we were staying together, so we took pictures of our outfits together and stuff.
They call it a flat runner.
Yeah, flat runner. So take pictures of those and post those. Everybody wants to see the outfits, and everybody likes having their photos taken of their outfits. So in the little bit of time you have like before the race actually starts, everybody's taking photos of each other and with people, and it's a lot of fun to see all the different outfits, because some people, I don't even know how they run in some of those outfits.
I don't know either. I mean, that's why like a big thing is you have to like practice in it, but I still don't know how.
Yeah, no, it is absolutely crazy, the stuff some people run in.
Okay, so tell us, like, if you've never been to a Run Disney race before.
Yes.
And you're planning on going on to one, maybe. What should you do so that you fit in?
Pinterest.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah.
Tell us some of the things that you see at the different races that you've been to.
Sparkle skirts are very popular right now, especially Sparkle Athletic. You get a sparkle skirt, throw on you top with a sparkle skirt, and you automatically got a pretty simple costume there.
Yeah.
And but yeah, I mean, go ahead, Heather. I don't know.
Tell us what you guys have done for your costumes. I want to hear that.
Well, I mean, when I first started doing it, even if it wasn't like a full-on costume, I would have like a shirt that had to do with the race, because they're always like themed to something. So I had like a Maleficent shirt for like the villain type theme, and I had like a princess one. But then when we were doing like this one, like Tanya and I, for the Disneyland 5K, it was like a Lilo and Stitch thing. So we were in like a Hawaiian. So we just did like a red tank and like the green sparkle skirt and the lei. And so we were like the, Hawaiian girl sort of Lilo-ish thing.
Like hula girls.
Yeah. And then we were Anna and Elsa for the 10K. And, there's certain, like, you can get tanks that are kind of not really a costume-ish, but, they're like, we do like a lot of raw threads is one of the companies, and that's actually when I started doing that. Like, wasn't like full-on costume, but it would be that, and it was like a mini one, and I got one that was like a Cinderella one, and then you just pair like the sparkle skirt with it, so then you have your costume, but it's not really complicated or anything. But then of course Tanya did that for Elsa, but I didn't like the Anna one, so of course now I have to go and make this more complicated. So I went, and I'm like, it has to be, because a lot of times you just can go and get like a plain tank in that color and like build off of that, or even just keep that. Well, I could not find a plain tank for like in the colors that I wanted, and even going online, it was much harder than I thought. But eventually I found like a black one, and then I got a ST is a really good place to find stuff, so I got like an iron-on thing, and so I ironed that on, but it was much harder on the tech shirt, so that was much more complicated than it should have been. And then they sewed like a trim around it, and so that was my Anna thing, and it looked really cute, but then it was kind of coming apart because it wasn't really ironed on well. It was a really problem. So I have to fix it because I'm going to wear that for the Princess 5K next year because it's Frozen themed. So I have to fix it. But the thing is when you're wearing like a costume, you'll get people yelling like, yeah, go Princess Anna, and that kind of stuff. And it's just, I don't know. It's like the same thing when you look good, you feel good. So it's like if you look cute, even though you're running and you're like sweating like crazy. Like, I don't know how some of these people wear like long sleeves and pants and all this other stuff. And they look like they look like it's nothing. And I'm like in as least clothes as possible when I run and I still look like I jumped in a pool. So it's like, I don't know, but it's, I really do think you should test it because, especially if you're running a lot, like a half marathon, it's not just a little thing that you could be like, oh, I can deal with this rubbing, you know what I mean? So you really should test that. But what was at the 10K, that costume?
The Kronk costume?
Yeah.
He was Kronk from Emperor's New Groove with the big old thing that he carries Yzma around in on his back. It's like 6 feet tall.
Wow.
Running with that thing on his back. It looked amazing, but he ran the entire thing with it.
Wow.
And that's a 10K. I mean, sometimes you can see, I did the 10K. I can't remember which one it was, the princess or whatever. And they were the Haunted Mansion Dooney and Burke bags. And these like big, like and I ran like behind and then past them because so I saw that they had it on the whole time and they finished and everything. And don't forget, like, the races in Florida are so much more humid. Yeah. Even the races I've done in January and February, it was really hot and I'd be standing in line for character. My ponytail was, drifting because so I really don't know how some people are able to do that. And then also sometimes they'll have props. Like when we did the Disneyland 10K, I got a picture with the chimney sweeps and they had, the chimney sweep with and they carry that the whole time. And it's like,
wow.
For me, the simplest thing is to just, the simpler the outfit, but still know what it is. Like we did, my aunt and I did Tweedledee and Tweedledum for a 5K. And then me, my aunt and my mom did the Lost Boys for another one. And there were things that could be simply done without having to have too much going on with them. But I also wanted to say, I remember what it was now. It was how you look when you're running past the photographers for the 5Ks. This is probably cheating, but I don't care. My mom and aunt and I, we walk the 5Ks. We speed walk, but we walk. But the moment we see a photographer, we start running. So we run for like that 10 seconds past the photographer, and then we stop and we start walking again. Because
you're getting into character.
Yeah, from the first 5K we did, we didn't do that, and we just look so lazy in our photos. Because in almost every photo, I'm like looking at my camera.
Oh, funny.
And I'm just like, oh, those are sad. Like, so now we run past the photographers.
That reminds me of something with the marathon photos, the photographers that are out there. When I did the Disneyland 10K, it was the first time I saw that they had video of you crossing the finish line. And so since I got the whole CD of all the pictures or whatever, so I also got the video. And I thought that was really cool because I've never had anything like that. And I don't know if that's something they normally have for like the halves or something. I don't know. I've never seen anyone talk about it. Yeah. And so it was, and they had at the finish line, they had Mickey and Minnie's like Hawaiian outfits, but you couldn't take a picture with them. Although I guess some people are able to, but I didn't. They were like, go, go, go. So, but I went and I slapped hands with Minnie and Mickey, and I took a picture of that, and it was funny. I'm like, yeah, that's really my hand with Minnie, But in the video, so you see me like I'm running, and then all of a sudden, like I spot them, and I like run, towards them, do that
sideways run.
Yeah. So that's a really fun thing, and I'm really glad that they had that. And I don't know if that's something they'll have more of, or they've always had it, and I just didn't know because I hadn't done more races, the higher races or whatever. So.
That's fun. So fun. Beth, what have you done for costumes?
Kind of what they're going. I've done the sparkle skirts. The first year, my girlfriend, I'm more of the Disney freak than she is. And so I wasn't sure how on board she was going to be with the idea of dressing up. But knowing her, I was like, I think she'll be, she's fun. So I think I can get her to do it. And I think if you're not, unless you're someone who really is just, really into style and has no problem being trendy and putting a lot of stuff on, here I am in my 30s at the time. And I'm like, I just don't know if I can pull off wearing a tutu, in a run. And so I was really, I think we were kind of really low key that first year. And then when you're there, it's like, it just totally makes sense. And I remember wishing, I was like, God, I wish we'd done more, like you almost kind of want to have the cool costume, the cool running outfit. Some people, I don't know. It's just interesting. You see how, what people's probably slapped it together at the last minute. Some people probably worked on it for 6 months. So I think of the Run Disney events as really the first Disney bounding experience, because people were trying, even before that became sort of as popular as it is, people were trying to come up with ways to have running outfits that resembled or represented characters. So the most common, especially for the women, is going to be a sparkly skirt, or the tulle is pretty popular, especially for the princess event. And then, I remember one costume or one set I saw at the Disneyland race were a couple, and they were dressed up as Dole Whips.
Oh, fun.
I have a good friend who's a big Disney person, and she did a race, or maybe it was for Halloween, but she was a park hopper. So she had kind of had a bunny theme, but she had stuff on her that made her look like she was, that was when park hopping was maybe a new ticket or something. I don't know, but
funny.
Yeah, she's clever like that. So, Disney Bound, that Leslie Kay, they've actually incorporated her a little bit into Run Disney this past year. And so that's actually pinned a lot of those last night or this morning, where she had suggested ideas for characters. So, you're just kind of looking for color schemes, maybe, online specialty shops that you can get more specific things like Heather was talking about. But it is really that is probably one of the most unique parts of Run Disney, though, is that it's encouraged or celebrated to run in a character or in some kind of costume, and you don't really see that in most other running events, unless it is themed for Halloween or some kind of weird theme. But this is going to be just really all Disney, and so that's probably one of the biggest things, aside from the price tag, that sets Run Disney apart.
Right.
From other races,
because it is more expensive, from what I hear.
Yeah. Do you want me to share?
Yeah, share.
Because I was trying to remember. I remembered at the time my first run thinking, yeah, that seems pretty high, but it's Disney, right? So that's pretty much, I think, how most people justify it. You're running at Disney, you're running through parks. They do overall, I think, put on a really good event. It's very well organized for the numbers of people. They learn from each event, and I think they try to improve. But for example, I am signed up I've signed up for, we can talk about this later if there's time, but Star Wars Half is the first time they're doing that at Disneyland in 2015. That's in January. That was, for that half marathon, that was $208 to run 13 miles.
Wow.
My local nice race in San Francisco, Oakland, they're averaging early registration is anywhere from $63. The most I paid was $86 for a race in Santa Cruz that was along the beach. So, it is a significant increase in cost to run at Run Disney event. I know for the Dumbo Double Dare, so you're getting a 10K entry, a half marathon entry, You get the tech shirts, which are the nice, athletic type shirts for each of those events. Then you're getting a third shirt to commemorate the fact that you're doing this challenge. Then you're getting a medal for each of the races, and then you get that third medal for that event. So you're getting 3 medals, 3 shirts, and 2 events. That one was, I wrote it down, $341.
Wow.
So, and then add in the getting there,
all the other
and staying
stuff.
there.
Because you're like Heather and you do 14 of them a year, they start to add up. They start to add up.
Yeah, it's like I'm signed up for like the races next year, and so since they have a challenge, it's like, well, if they have a challenge, I might as well do it. So the 3 I'm doing are challenges too. So,
but part of the reason they're so expensive is because of the demand. I mean, they do sell out instantly, and so they can charge that much.
And the thing is, it seems like the entertainment on it is going down too.
Yeah,
I'm hoping that's not going to continue, because like the ones I'm signed up through, and I'm like, if it's like the Disneyland 10K where there was like no one out, I would probably be done, because it is. I mean, that's one of the reasons why I think if you're doing it, like, you might as well stop for pictures and everything, because that's part of what you're paying for.
Yeah.
So but I mean, I think it's too much. But like you said, I mean, the demand is there. Every time they go on sale, it's almost immediately that it's sold out.
Yeah.
And so they know, like, okay, we can, and they keep adding races, and then
they keep selling out.
We'll just keep. I mean, even the amount that it's gone up since I started, I forget. Like when I did the 5K, it was not as expensive as it is now. I think the 5K is something like $60, $70, I think, for like a 5K. Yeah. And I mean, your local races, you can do $25, $35. So, I mean, I know you're getting a medal, and a lot of times when you do local races, you don't get medals. But I did a rock and roll 5K in Philadelphia, and it was a really cool medal, and it was a real medal. Like the 5Ks for the Disney, they're like rubber metal things. Oh. So it was like a real medal, and it was really cool and everything, and it was only like $35.
Wow.
So
it can be done.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, I remember the Star Wars race at Disneyland went on sale when I was at Disney World, and I had a lot of you texting me reminding me to sign up, and it went fast. But I mean, I wasn't trying to sign up just because I'm not ready for that yet. I'm not ready for that commitment yet.
You can do it. Even sign up for the 5K. I was glad that it sold out fast, because I signed up for the challenges, and I'm like, should I sign up for the 5K too? Just sell out quick so I don't on that too.
Yeah. I'm not afraid of the 5Ks, 5K, 10K I could probably handle easily. For me right now, it's the time and expense of getting there that's killing me. Yeah. So
yeah, tell me about it.
Yeah. And I've got 3 kids that would want to go too, so it adds up really fast. Yeah. Alrighty, so let's move on. Does anyone have anything else that they want to add that we didn't talk about?
I know there's something and I forget.
I'm sure Heather has something.
I had one thing that is really embarrassing, but I will share it. So, do not use these special events to try out a new pose or some funny look on your face for character pictures, because I had an opportunity during, I think it was the half. I don't even remember. It's blurred together. Maybe it was the 10K, but whatever it was, this was the last race. This is the last one I did. And I was in Disneyland in the park, and they had the characters coming in and out. And when I was running through Tomorrowland, that is an area where if you're going to see Darth Vader, I think that's usually where you're going to see him. And they had Darth Vader out and like 2 or 3 stormtroopers. So I got really excited, and I hopped in the line, which was not that bad. And when I got up to take my photo with them, I thought, I'm going to look scared. And it was a fail. I look like I'm trying to do like a kid's version of like the war call or something. It's a bad look on my face. And I'm really disappointed with myself. And I'm like, God, I should know better. But I guess what I would say is, you're already kind of in this rush to get through, a run. But even if I was in the parks and it was a regular old day and I just wanted to get a picture with Darth Vader and the Stormtroopers, I think I'm just going to do what I know is going to work for me and not try to get fancy. Because I think sometimes we see people get really neat pictures and they'll be really cute expressions or something. But unless you've had some trial runs with that, don't do it the first time. So anyway, that was one thing that I kind of have kicked myself about is, probably should have just done, a comfortable,
smile
that I'm familiar with. Yes. Yeah. And just have been happy to have Darth Vader, company with me. So I would, thinking about that before you strike your pose.
Really good advice, I think.
I have one other advice as well. You might want to train people. Do some walking. Get out there, do some stuff before you try to attempt running a 10K.
Did you not train?
Yeah.
No, I didn't. I didn't train at all.
And it's not like somebody didn't beg them. Please.
No, I know.
Run.
Running is not my thing. Well, let me take that back. Exercising is not my thing, like, at all. And I was like, okay, well, I could do the 5Ks, no problem. Like, I've never had a problem with the 5Ks. And, if I just throw a little bit of running in there, I'll be good. No, I overextended. I super overextended because I was fine up until like the day of the race. And I was just like, oh my God, what if I completely fail at this? I am the last person coming in. I was like, this is going to be awful. I'm probably going to die. Like, they're going to have to like scrape me off the ground. And so I pushed myself way harder than I should have pushed myself. And I couldn't walk for 3 weeks. 3 weeks I couldn't walk.
And that was for the 10K?
Yeah, it took a full 3 weeks for me to be able to walk normal again.
And so if someone is doing another 10K and someone was telling them to start training for that one, they don't go
Someone's going
again.
to listen.
Someone is still not listening.
Someone is still not listening.
That is really funny.
So I should probably get on that soon, you guys.
Yeah. Because when's your next race? What are you doing next?
I have the Avengers 5K in a couple weeks, and then I'm doing the Star Wars 10K in January.
Okay, and Beth, what about you?
So I'll be at the Star Wars half with my husband. He's signed up for it. And then the Princess. Then I was like, I'm done. I cannot pay any more to run Disney. So I get to go. I will fly back to Florida to meet my girlfriend. And I will add really quick that when you do in the same calendar year, if you do a half marathon or longer on one coast, and then you do an event on the other coast, you get a special medal for that. So that's called a coast-to-coast medal. So there's a little bit of,
that's cool.
Yeah. So that's it.
Very cool. Heather?
Well, I'm doing the wine and dine, which when this goes up will be that week.
Yeah.
So hopefully that goes well. That'll be my first half, and I've been really excited about it. Like, I know most of the time with these races, for me, it's about, the Disney and it's about the characters and everything. But for this one, it's like, it's all about doing a half marathon. So I'm really excited. I hope it goes okay. Although I'm starting to try to figure out like which characters later want to stop, because that's another thing we didn't really talk about, the whole character thing, that a lot of times lines can be long, and even for someone like me, like I would wait hours, but like on a race, even something like 15 minutes can really feel like a long time. So it's that whole debate sometimes with that. But so that's my immediate one. And then next year, I signed up for 4 before I even did 1, because of the whole, you have to sign up early and they sell out and everything. So I'm doing the Star Wars challenge, which is the half and the 10K, because it's Star Wars and I love Star Wars and it's the first one. So hopefully that's fun. And that's at Disneyland. And then I'm doing Princess. And that one, again, I'm doing the challenge. And I'm doing the 5K also with my mom. So I'm doing all 3 of them. So see how that goes. And then I'm also doing, since Beth mentioned about the whole coast to coast, which is if you do the Disneyland and Disney World in the same calendar year. But if you specifically do Princess at Disney World, and then there's a Tinkerbell half, which is in May at Disneyland, you get a pink coast to coast medal.
Oh.
And I'm all about pink.
Yeah.
So I'm like, if I'm doing Princess, I might as well do Tink. So I'm doing that one. And of course, then they never had a challenge before. They had a 10K, but they didn't have it as a challenge. So I thought, okay, I can get away with just doing a half. And then they announced a week before they went on sale, we're going to have a challenge. So I had to do the challenge. So I'm signed up for that. So after that, and I pass out and die, then I will figure out what I'm doing afterwards.
Funny.
We mentioned that I had to sign up for the January 10K before running this last 10K.
Yeah, that's true. You did.
I wouldn't have signed up for the next. I figured in my head, all right, I'll just sign up for it, because if I end up liking it, then cool, I'm signed up for another 10K. If I end up hating it, I just got to get through one more. That was my thought. So
And
I hate that you have to sign up so early.
Yeah, doing the Disneyland 10K was your idea, remember? So
shut your face.
I always say that. Because I did it, and then I was like, this is so much fun. I want to do a half. It's like my immediate thought when I finished the first 10K. And then Tanya said, oh, we should do the 10K together at Disneyland. I'm like, okay. And then...
Well, a couple things on that. First of all, you became a serious runner in the time in between those two.
Yeah, that's the truth.
left me in the But also, I probably could have gotten away with not running as much as I did. I actually surprised myself on the amount of running that I did, because I pushed myself.
Because you were worried that you were going to be last.
And there was by the time we finished and got around and everything, there was still a ton of people behind me. A ton of people. So I could have gone slower if I needed to.
Yeah.
And the thing was too, this is the thing with it, when you do a half or above, when you want your time, you have to submit a proof of time from another race, as I mentioned doing. But for anything less than that, you just say what your time is, and that's really sticking in the crowd. I am still better. So we submitted at the same time. We did it at the same time. And she, who has never run before, was in corral A, and I'm in B, and I'm like, what? And then
I needed the head start.
Funny.
A little better. There are people that have a lot of complaints sometimes about with the whole corral thing. Sometimes if you're
should have been in corral at all.
Well, yeah, because if you want to run with somebody, you should be able to do that.
Well, if you can always go back. So
okay.
If she wanted,
so Tanya could have come back with you, but she didn't.
Come back into the lowly B with me
after a mile. So I needed this.
That's so funny.
So it was when you have the higher ones, when I'm doing the with the half, and so it's but we'll see how it goes. I hope it's okay. There's still a lot behind me, but I'm still not sure about the whole character. Should I stop at this one? And, but it's we were talking about with other races. That's another thing with the Disney races, at least the ones I've done, that it's very organized, and they really check to make sure you're in the right crowd. You could, like I said, you could go back, but, you can't go forward. But, other races I've done, it's just whatever. They move you up themselves.
Yeah. Alrighty, let's move on into picks, because I know that Beth needs to get going. So let's do some picks really quickly. Do you have a pick, Tanya?
Yes, I'm playing it as we speak, actually. It's a new. I don't know. Is it new, Heather? Do you know when this game came out?
Yeah, I think it was just a little bit before then. It's relatively new. Yeah.
It's It's Cars Fast as Lightning, and Heather and I have a tendency to become obsessed with these Disney games for a good a couple months, before we burn out on them. But this one is super fun because you get to build your own radiator springs.
Oh, fun! Yeah,
and you race, and you there's things to do and whatnot, but seriously, I just getting to build your own radiator springs is really fun. And this one is really well done. The little cars movements and stuff, but Cars Fast as Lightning. Get the iPad game, people. It's really fun. I like it.
That's good. Okay, Beth, do you have a pick?
Yeah, I think I'll do, there's a website. Actually, I found this runner last winter, back in the winter when I did the first post I did that had to do with runDisney. And she actually has a post about a race book, a photo book that she did. And her book is not just for Run Disney, but she has photos where she shows what her photo books look like. And she does have some Run Disney events in them. And what she did was she took her race, like she does it by year. So she had done a retrospective in a way of the different running events she did during the year. And she leaves a blank page where she attaches her bib for that race. So she has them, she has the events, I guess, maybe in chronological order. But I thought it was a neat idea to have a photo book that's printed. You can do it the way you want, and then you just leave a page open to, it looks like she uses maybe double-sided tape or something, but she attaches the bibs that way.
It's a great idea.
Yeah, so I thought for a memory, someone who wants to do memory keeping, which I'm still trying to figure out what I want to do with all my running stuff, and I'm trying to decide if I want Run Disney, just Disney stuff, or do I do like a running album, It's just, how do I part with those bibs? So, but anyway, I'll send you the link for it. But
yeah, thank you.
It's a good idea.
It is a good idea. Okay, Heather.
Beth's pick just reminded me of one little tip for something to do for like in the future with Run Disney, that you should look up like race reports, and because there's a ton of them out there for all the different Disney races, and so it'll kind of give you an idea of like the course and characters and stuff that'll be out. So that's a good thing to know for your whole memory thing and what you're doing, so you kind of think about it ahead of time.
Yeah.
But, hey,
that's a good idea. Really good idea.
I mean, I'm kind of like addicted to just
I wouldn't know that they would have that.
There are so many running blogs. I mean, you can get it for like non-Disney, but also Disney ones. And that's kind of the thing that when I first started, and I would read everyone that I could get my hands on. Yeah. And there's a lot of them too who are like on Twitter. And so there's people that like I know. And so like I'll ask some questions and everything. And I think most of the running community is very good with that and helping you, through these things, not just the Disney stuff, but the whole running part of it, since some of us do train, but I still wouldn't consider myself a serious runner. I'm slow.
You go every day. That's serious running. I think about it every day. Does that count?
Yeah, there you go.
But yeah, so anyway, so that's a good tip to look that kind of stuff up. And that's the only thing with the race I'm doing. There's like so few character reports of it. It seems like mostly like serious runners are doing it. And they're just like, oh yeah, and I saw there were characters out and I ran past them. So that's a tough thing. But most of the ones, like the princess ones, I mean, you can find everything. And I mean, the characters will change, usually, but basically they'll be mostly the same from year to year. So that should help you out with that. So anyway, my pick, since I've already made this long enough. Poor Beth, I'm sorry you're on the podcast and I'm on, because it always goes so long. But my pick was the Instacube Classic, which is, I think, how we all started this whole doing a podcast today, because as soon as I saw this, I said, this is going to be my pick on the next podcast.
Yes, and I said, okay, let's record.
And it's just really cool. It's like,
really cool.
They would have photo viewers that you could see your pictures, that are digital, but this takes it from your Instagram feed, and it's wireless, and it's really cool. And if it was a little bit cheaper, I would definitely be getting it. It's $150, so it's it's a little bit up there, but maybe in time it'll come down or something.
Did you notice that it's Android only? Did you say that?
It's Android, but it still can. I mean, it uses your Instagram feed, so it doesn't matter what. Like,
oh, really?
Yeah.
Because I thought it said Android based, and so I thought that meant you have to have an Android phone. No.
Yeah. So like the actual device is Android, but you put in. I guess you just put in like the Instagram, like you sign in, and so it does it. I don't think it has anything to do with your phone. From what I was skimming and reading, it seemed like. I think even
the frame itself just uses the Android based software.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying now.
Yeah. So, but
it's cute
and
it looks like a little Instagram frame.
It is, and so it's really. I mean, that's even what I saw, and then when I clicked on it and I saw what it actually did, and I thought, this is really cool. And I think Tanya said it was like a Kickstarter thing.
Like years ago.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I saw it years ago and thought how cool it was back when like probably I first started using Instagram. And I was like, wow, that's so cool. Hopefully it'll come out eventually. And then you guys brought it up and I was like, oh my God, I forgot about it. Yeah, it's cool though. I like it.
Yeah, that is cool.
So I have the link for the Amazon thing, and I can put that in the show notes. But yeah, really cool.
Very cool. Okay, my pick is I'm going to have a link on this show in the show notes to it, but it's the Disney wallpapers. They have tons of free wallpapers that I think are perfect if you're going to do any kind of scrapbooking, paper scrapbooking, pocket scrapbooking, digital scrapbooking. They're great to fit in there. My daughter used some of the free wallpapers that I had downloaded. It automatically figures out what screen resolution you have. And so I had gone on my phone and downloaded some Frozen ones to my phone, and my daughter used them in the new Project Life app.
I broke down and bought that app finally. Like, I did. I couldn't help it. It's good.
It's
a
good
app.
It is a really good app. I probably should have picked that app for Hello.
It's so well made.
It's so well made. Let's talk about that 1 second.
Yeah.
Actually, we can talk about on the
news.
Yeah, on the news. Okay. So, anyway, so she downloaded some of those, and in the Project Life app, she made her, when I was beta testing it for Becky, she made her own layout and just added those, found them on my photo strip and added a picture of Elsa and Anna and Olaf and a picture of herself, and I love Frozen, and yeah, it was adorable. So they're perfect for pocket scrapbooking. I found one for the Seven Dwarfs Mine Train that I used on a layout. It's just great. So go download those wallpapers. And they're the bigger ones for bigger computer screens are actually, once you size them down for pocket scrapbooking or on a digital layout, they print fine. They print great. So there you have it. Okay, let's remind our listeners where to find everybody, where to find all of us. Beth.
I have a website that needs to be updated. It is Disney memory keeping focused. It is www.anyhappylittlethoughts.com, and I'm on Instagram as Any Happy Little Thoughts, and on Twitter as Any Happy Little, and on Pinterest. But I also have a personal Instagram feed that's public, but it's Creeble Beth, and that's where that's got more family stuff, but I do some Disney stuff there too.
Perfect. Tanya.
My blog is crossbonecuts.blogspot.com. I sell my digital scrap designs at Scrap Orchard, and Tanya H666 on all social media.
Perfect. Heather.
My character site is heatherw.com/character, and I recently started a Facebook page for it. So I can, when I'm on a trip, which I have coming up, which when this is up will be there. So I post like live updates and stuff too. So I love characters on Facebook, and on Instagram and Twitter, I'm HeatherW25.
Yay, perfect. Alrighty, I'm Steph. You can find me at capturingmagic.me and thedailydigi.com, where we have the digifiles. If you're interested in learning how to scrapbook digitally or how to document your life digitally in a geeky way, if that interests you at all, check out thedailydigi.com. We also have classes. If you click on the classes tab. We just added 2 more. So we have a photo organization class, a supply organization class, and a beginning digital scrapbooking class called Watch Me Scrap. And then Janet, her new one is Scrap Your Year, where she scrapped, and she will walk you through scrapping 1,500 photos in 14 hours.
Those classes look so awesome.
Yeah, pretty darn cool.
Awesome.
Alrighty, thank you everyone for being here. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
We'll see you next time on Capturing Magic.